So here's the spring tensioner. Now one thing I couldn't figure out is how to get it off. How do you get this thing off? It's loose. You can't get the damn thing out of there. But here's what you do. I'm going to try this with one hand. You take the little screw off the end. This is the little screw here. You take that off the end with an Allen wrench. And what you can do is you stick your Allen wrench in the hole. That pushes the tensioner back. And then you pull this off. It's still not easy. But what happens when you pull this off without pushing on that tensioner, the tensioner wants to come with it. And you can't get it off. And there you go. And then you take your tensioner out. That's how you get that off. With the tensioner, you do have to push it down. You push it down, it's going to get the oil out of it. You see the oil squirting out? See that? You squish it down to get the oil out. Now it's compressed. You have to compress it all the way down. And once the oil comes out, press it some more. There you go. Now it's pressed down the whole way. Now when I press it again, it should release. It takes a lot of effort. It's hard to do with one hand. I did press it down and it popped open. What happens is once you press it down, it's sort of sprung and ready to go. You press it one more time, it pops open with a lot of force. With my phone, I wasn't able to show you that on the phone. Another question I had was, which end do you push? You put this end. There's one end is flat. This put down on the bench. Push here. This flat end is also the one that goes towards your timing chain, your cam chain, whenever you install it. What you're going to do when you install it, you're going to push it down, you're going to load it, that's going to load it up, and then when you put it in, you're going to push on it, and it's going to spring open to its current position, and then it's ready to go. You can't install it in this extended position like this. There's just too much pressure on here. It doesn't look like a much, but it goes there, and it gets really tight. If you try to push it in, you're probably going to damage the threads of the little nut cap that holds that on. Alright, so what we need to do is make sure the tensioner isn't pushed down too far. It has to be pushed down about 3 millimeters. The manual says 2 to 2.5. I tried 2, 2.5, and it didn't work. It has to be about 3 millimeters. And I found these two washers out of 3 millimeters. That's a little over 3 millimeters there, but you get the idea. Just find something that's about 3 millimeters. And there you go. Just take a little micrometer. 3.3, something like that. Anyway, the idea is when you push that tensioner down, if you push it down too far, it won't properly reset. You push it down the whole way to get the oil out if you want to, but you got to get it to pop back out. Once it pops back out, before you install it, when you compress it, you take it down to about 3 millimeters. And some people say use a dime and a nickel on top of each other. I find when you push down on them, the dimes and nickels just shoot across the bench. These two big washers are great, and they work really well at holding it. $3mm gap. There we go. Now it's set 3 millimeters. Looks like more than that, but it's not. It's right at 3 millimeters. Now I'm going to put this in. When I put it in, I'm going to take a Allen wrench and push it in this. You're not trying to hit that hole in there. You're trying to push on the end, just this whole surface here, just like you did when you push it down with your hand. The objective is to get this in and then find some tool that'll go in there and just push down on this so that it's going to take a lot of force. You're going to push pretty hard, but then it's going to pop open and spring open to that extended position. And that's how you install it. Put the O-ring on this thing. Stick it in. The flat spot goes in first. This would be a lot easier to do with the muffler off, but I'm not getting into that today. It can be done like this. Much easier with the muffler off, but it's getting late. I'm not messing with it. So anyway, you put that thing in there. So it's in. There, it goes in the whole way. You wiggle a little bit. It's a really snug fit. The washers are, the rubber thing's already on there. The little O-ring's already on there. So just put them in. That's it. It sits like that. Now, next thing you do is take this with the cap off, put it on. That goes in next. Thread it in. Picture's getting blurry here, but anyway. Thread it in. There it goes. Now it's in focus. Alright, so you thread that in. This is a 24 millimeter nut that's on the end here. So keep that in mind. That took me a while to figure out too, because I couldn't find that anywhere. But anyway, 24 millimeters, put that in there. Now you got to torque it down, check your torque specs. Put it on there. This is a tight spot with the muffler on. It's one of these ones where you got to tighten it. You give it a tighten, and then you got to flip your wrench and hit it again from that side. That's just how this one is. So I'm doing that. Flip it around. Hit it from that side. Sometimes you got to grab it from up here. Again, it'll be a lot easier with the muffler off, but taking the muffler off is a pain in the ass. I'm not doing it. So anyway, I'll get this tightened down. I'll be right back. Okay, so it's in. It's tight. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a tool and push in there. Some folks say to use a screwdriver, but I'm going to use an Allen wrench. Stick in there. Find the biggest Allen wrench you can that'll fit in there. I think a 3/4 fits really good. This might be an 8 millimeter. I don't know what the hell size this is. This is probably, I think it's a 7 millimeter. But last time I did this, I used a 3/4 one. But anyway, all you're doing is you're going to put it in there, and you got to push really hard. Now, if you did this on your bench already, you know how hard you got to push. It's pretty damn hard. So you got to get ready, compact it, and there. I heard it. I don't know if it came. You want to see if it came out or not? Just see if you can move that thing in there. That tensioner should not move around. And it is not moving around. If it doesn't set, I got it on the first try that time. The other last time I did this, it took me like 6 tries. But you'll be able to tell right away if it didn't click. I mean, you heard it click. Sometimes it'll click and not expand. If it doesn't expand, when you reach in here with this tool to push, you reach into this tool to push, you'll be able to move it. It'll be able to loosen there. Actually, your tool will probably sink in really far before you touch it. This thing is freaking tight against this bolt. So it's set. The other thing you can do is just check your timing chain. That thing is really tight. That cam chain's super tight. If that thing hasn't set, you'll be able to go like that and move the chain with your finger and turn your cams in a hair. But that thing's set, so that's good. Now all I got to do is put this little bolt in and make sure the little washer's on there. Look at this. Put that in with a Allen wrench, and you're all set.